Hey guys, this is Ed, Paul, and Anna of Curb Media, and we are here to tell you a little bit more about our sponsor.
Sportsball is a great subscription service geared towards minor league baseball fans. Each box features a different minor league team.
You get a box every 3 months with minor league baseball gear, including different styles of hats like Ed's favorite, the dad hat. The cost is less than $12 a month.
Proceeds from each box goes to More Than Baseball, the only nonprofit dedicated to the well-being of minor league baseball players.
We all know that Parents' Days are coming up this summer, so if you've got a mom or a dad or a grandma or a grandpa who are particularly difficult to buy for, but you know they're baseball fans, this is the answer, guys.
Meet your new favorite team at sportsballbox.com.
Is there anybody there?
Have you ever wondered what it's like to be an owner of a collegiate woodbat baseball team? Well, Dad Hat Crew, wonder no more. On this episode, I got Chuck Heeman. He not only owns one, but two collegiate woodbat baseball team. We talked about how he came to become an owner, what it's like to run a team, and then also, give us a little behind the scene of what it's like to run it on a daily basis. So without further ado, I'll give you the episode. All right. Well, I want to welcome you guys to yet another episode of the Dad Hat Chronicles. My name is Ed, and with me today, I have a special guest. His name is Chuck Heeman. He owns a couple of the teams in the Independence League Baseball, the Casper Horseheads, the Western Nebraska Pioneers, and then you said you're also part owner of the North Platte Plainsmen. Is that correct?
That is all correct. I don't know how it happened, but it happened, and here we are. Yep.
That's awesome. Good for you. Absolutely. That's awesome. To bring some, baseball to those areas, right? So that's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
So I want to start with, getting to know, Chuck. How did you become a fan of the sport of baseball growing up? Tell me about that.
Okay. Well, I was born in Detroit, so when I was a little kid, obviously was a Tigers fan, and kind of I don't and this is, I'm old, so it's a long time ago, and I don't remember a lot about it. But one thing I remember is I went to our school took us to an assembly at school, and Al Kaline came and talked to us and gave us tickets, or one of the team people gave us tickets. And they put us on school buses, and we went to Al Kaline Bat Day. And the only thing I remember about that whole day is I had my Al Kaline bat in my hand. And I'm like, obviously I'm thinking this is pretty cool. So a little bit later in life, I was in high school, and a friend of mine was his dad was friends with the groundskeepers with the Cleveland Indians. I had moved to a town outside Akron by then. And he was my friend's dad was a friend of the Bossards, who ran the field for the Cleveland Indians at the old place, and they got us on the game day grounds crew. So
Nice.
give us a little pass, little employee pass. I've still got it here in my office from 1975, and we were the little kids that would go and pull the tarp if it rained, or change the bases in the middle of the game, or do that kind of stuff. Nothing technical. We weren't putting pesticide on or anything like that. But so I spent a lot of my summer, one of my high school years at Cleveland Stadium, at Municipal Stadium. And I spent a lot of time there, and I got to know some of the front office people. And it's like, this is pretty cool. What they do. It's a job, and you could see that it was a job, but it's a pretty cool job to have. So a little bit later in life, I went in the Air Force. I got married, I got divorced, and I worked for the post office for a long time. But I got a chance to get into at a low level in the Northwest League up in Bellingham, Washington, to get on their staff. And there's a little more involved in that, but we don't have all day. But that was my first full-time job in baseball, and this was in 1992. And I got hooked on it. It's like I'd been a baseball fan forever, of course, but to be involved in the sport and do something on the operational end of things, where you're putting things together, I really got hooked on it, and I've been doing it ever since. So I've been kind of all over the country doing this. I landed in Phoenix in 2006, working for the Diamondbacks. Worked my way up there, and I was there for a few years, and kind of got the itch to come back to the A-ball collegiate level, and did that as an employee. My wife and I did that as employees in Oregon for a few years, and then a few years ago, about 5 years ago, we got the chance to become owners at this level, and we've been in Gehring ever since. We moved to Gehring, Nebraska in the summer of 17, and we've been here ever since. And we've kind of acquired a couple more teams in the meantime, and it's a blast. It just is. It's like I say, it is a business, and it is a year-round, all-day, everyday business. But it's, I don't know what I'd be doing if I wasn't doing this.
I was just gonna say, it's like, as long as you love what you do,
yeah,
it doesn't.
It's a cliche for a reason, because it's true.
Yeah.
I'm never going to get rich doing this. We make an okay living, but this isn't, you don't do this for the money. You do this because you love doing it. Yeah.
Let me ask you, because there's a lot of recently we have a lot of wood bat leagues, but what is it about that attracted you to a collegiate wood bat league, and owning these teams? Was it just the opportunity, or is that something that you just something about the league that you just liked?
That's a good question, because I'll compare it. When I was working for the Diamondbacks, I had a pretty big position. I did the job I had was a pretty big job. But one of the things that I missed as I was working up through the minors, and when I got to the majors, when I was at that position, I didn't know any of the fans, or any of the season ticket holders, or the sponsors, or, the only people I really dealt with were the people that worked for me or worked with me. Mm-hmm. We had our little group, and those are the only people basically that we ever interacted with. We were at games, we saw the fans and everything, but there was no real personal connection. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I loved about coming up through the minors was that, you have a small staff. The Diamondbacks, when I was there, they had about 260 full-time people. Well, here we have one, so, but I loved that connection, the personal connection that you make. And then the other part of it is, I love that, if something goes wrong, I know who to blame. Here, right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fans, and something's wrong at the ball game, the fans know right where to find the owner, and they come right up and they tell you. But I love that. It's a lot of pressure to do things right and do things the way you want to do them. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, you get a whole lot more satisfaction, I think, out of that than if you're part of a massive group and okay, you did this. Okay, well here, my wife and I and Connie, our assistant GM here in Gehring, we're it. Either we get it right or it doesn't get done right. Mm-hmm. And I love that pressure about it. And then, I know we have, we have about 500 season tickets sold. We have about 180 season ticket holders, and I pretty much know all of them.
That's correct.
I know all of our sponsors. We're part of the community here. My wife and I go to a lot of events. People know who we are. My wife is like the queen of Gehring, Nebraska. She's in parades and she does speeches and everything. But there's a lot of that's what motivates us. It doesn't motivate everybody. Everybody's not built the same. But that's what I like about working at this level, is mm-hmm. that you get a chance to take something, in this case, and even in Casper and North Platte, take something that wasn't there before, and you build it into this really cool community asset for people. It's really got almost nothing to do with baseball. Mm-hmm. It's got to do with bringing something to your community that people enjoy, and it improves the quality of life there. And you can look at yourself in the mirror at the end of the day and say, look, we did this, and that's really the satisfaction of it. So that's kind of why, when I first wanted to leave the Diamondbacks and brought it up to my wife, she thought I was nuts. It's like, you've been doing this for 15 years, and you've gone from here to here to here to here. Now you want to do this. Well, it's not about being here or there. It's about being happy.
Yeah, as long as you're happy and you're doing what you love, again, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah, and we are. We've been. It's my wife works alongside me, and not everybody can do that. For you guys out there, not everybody can work with your wife every single day, but we work together very well, and that's another little bonus. I get to spend more time with my wife. So Yeah, but it's been a blast. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. And it's the support, right? That you have, you guys support each other, because you guys are running a business. It's a small business at the end of the day.
Yeah. And if the business fails, well, guess whose fault it is? Yeah. You can't say, well, that guy messed me over or that guy didn't do it right. It's just like, there's a lot of pressure to that, but we love that.
That's great. Now, obviously, we talked about the teams that you own. How do you guys divide the time in between that? The other teams. How does that really work out for you guys?
It's all a matter of it all really we look at ourselves all the time. It's like, how are we doing this? It really all comes down to people. In our first couple of years doing this, that was one of our real struggles. Finding people. Well, like I'll give you an example in Casper with the Horseheads. It's tough to find somebody who is even close to being as bought in as you are.
Yeah,
a lot of people want to go around town and they want to wear the logo and they want to go to the bar and be the guy, but they don't want to do the work. So it's really tough to find somebody that you can, leave them run on their own and know the work's going to get done. And we had a real struggle with that our first couple of years. We've kind of settled into that now, where like in our case in Casper, we have a really good crew there. And so, my wife and I basically just go up there every couple of weeks to say hi to people. And, our grandkids live there now because actually our daughter and our son-in-law run the team. And then we have a general manager. So now it's more of a case of going to visit the grandkids. But for the first couple of years, we were doing all of this by ourselves, my wife and I.
Wow.
So it really comes down to people, finding the right people. We've got a great person here in Gehring. We've got a great person in North Platte that we can say, okay, we're going to be gone for 3 days. Here's the 5 things that need to get done. And we know they're going to get done.
Right.
Yeah. And that's a massive thing. So finding the people is the kind of key to that. I wouldn't recommend anybody trying to do this by yourself. We did that and it almost killed my wife and kind of ruined our health and our well-being. So finding the right people when you're running something like we're doing, to where those people are trustworthy and reliable and they're going to get the job done. That's really the key to the whole thing.
I think you're right. Listen, and obviously I'm running something at a very much smaller scale, right? This podcast and all that. But I would not be able to do this if it wasn't for the support of my wife, for me to do what I am doing right now. And I think that's important.
Yeah, you're taking time away from other things to do this. And if your family's not bought in, you shouldn't be doing it.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, you are in a new league, I'm sure optimism is really high right now. How is that, all going, schedule wise and all that stuff with your teams?
It's going well. As anybody who's been following this kind of knows, we were in another league our first few years and we broke away last fall. There's still a separation process going on. It's, you don't just do this,
you just don't do it just because you want it to. You're right.
Right. We're still in the middle of some legal things getting that separated, but we will. So it's been good because, and going back to the separation of this thing, and I'm not going to say too much about it, but there was a reason that we did it. We didn't just wake up one morning and say, gee, wouldn't it be fun to get into this legal entanglement and that's going to take 5-6 years to resolve? Wouldn't that be fun to do that? So we did this for a reason. And the group of people that we have with us now, we're dedicated to, number one, we're dedicated to each other, making sure we succeed. We're dedicated to doing this the right way, ethically and honestly, and treating our people well and making sure our bills are paid and doing, just the things that you do and working with our communities to build these assets. So the group of people that we have now, it's really been, really been good. We're still feeling our way a little bit. We invented a league, in about 3 weeks that normally would take like 2 years to get all your paperwork done and all your stuff done. But we did that. Our schedule is done. Our ballparks are secured. We're on a good path. And so
I like it.
Yeah. We feel like we know we're doing the right thing, but we feel like that it's coming together really well.
I think that's absolutely wonderful. And I'm wishing nothing but the best of luck for you guys to, get all that situated. Now,
Well,
let me
thank
ask you, because this is a collegiate wood bat league, how is that handled? The choosing of the players? Does each team do their own, recruiting? I'm sure you have relationship with certain colleges and things like that. Is that how you guys are doing, managing that aspect of the player selection?
Yeah, that's what we do. We each individual team, like in our case, I don't have time to go scout players. I don't know, that's not my expertise. And the times I've tried to do that, I'm bad at it. So I don't do that. I have right now, I can count 3 people that I signed that I know were really good, and a whole long list of that just I made a mistake. This guy makes one good throw and I want to sign him. So I don't do that.
Yeah.
So what we do is, and we're all the same way. Every team recruits their own players. So we hire a coach. We hire our head coach, and we trust that person to do the recruiting. Each of our 3 teams, they have a head coach. I don't get involved in it. And there's another reason, is because the Pioneers historically had been pretty good on the field. And the Casper Horseheads have historically not been pretty good on the field. And so people will come to me and say, well, you're stacking up the Pioneers so they win. And, the kind of, letting the players go and not so good on the Horseheads. Well, I don't get involved in that. And that's another reason why there's a line there.
Yeah.
That you're the coach. You've got to be on the bus with these guys all summer long. You recruit them. You do that. So so each individual team, their head coach will recruit the players, and there's not like a common draft or anything like that. So it comes down to the relationships that you have with colleges.
Gotcha.
My wife and I have some really good relationships with a lot of colleges, especially out west, from our days in the West Coast League.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go to our head coach and say, hey, you need to call, Oregon or Mount Hood or Lane or some of those colleges out there and talk to them, because we know the coaches there. And in reverse, the coaches out there know us, and they know that when they send a player our way, that player is going to get taken care of.
Correct.
And that's a big thing for coaches, especially in a new league, like our former league was, and now this one. Now they know us already. But when you're trying to establish that relationship, the coaches know. They send a player to a team that we run, they know their players are going to get taken care of. And so that gave us a big advantage at the beginning. So it's all comes down to you finding a coach who has those connections. They recruit a good team, and you fire it up in May.
And at the same time, those coaches that are sending those players, they're expecting for them to be some development while they're on these teams in this league, right? So they went into play. There's certain things that they need to be taken care of as well.
Every player comes with a set of instructions.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. We were in Klamath Falls, Oregon. It was our second year there. I think it was 2012. Cal State Fullerton sent us a guy named Tom Eshelman, who's now up in the big leagues with the Orioles. And he was coming out of high school, and his instructions were, we don't want him to throw more than 30 innings. So we made him our closer, and he threw 30 innings, and he was amazing. I think he had like 40 strikeouts and one. I remember he had one walk the whole year. It was just darts, boom, boom, boom. So every player comes with that. We get a lot of guys who are like, a lot of the catchers that we get are going to be their starting catcher the following year when they go back to school in fall ball. So they get 40 games of catching during the summer. So every player has instructions from their college coach. And so our coaches, they're responsible for putting that puzzle together and knowing that, this guy was a third baseman, but they want him to catch. This guy, he can only go 4 innings at a time. This guy, whatever it is. So our coach looks at all of our 30 players, puts that puzzle together, and that's how it's done. And
then they handle it. And it's kind of crazy to think that, you would be accused of, stacking one team with the other. You want both teams to be successful. You own both teams. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
Hey, the best thing in my world is we play each other in the playoffs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense. I think that's kind of it's funny. But
it's funny to hear stuff like that, though. But on the upside, at least people care. At least people care enough to point it out. That's what I always look at. Even if somebody's complaining about something, hey, you know what? At least they care enough to complain about it.
At least they're
Yep.
paying attention to your team, and that's
We're-
what's important.
We're doing the right thing. Yep.
I think it's great idea. Now, how long is the season? When you guys start, when you guys finish, in your season?
We start May 24th,
Mhm.
and our last regular season game is July 30th.
Okay.
And then we have 1 week of playoffs. We have two rounds. So our league is set up in 2 divisions. I'm making notes here like I don't know, but I know. Our league, I have to write things down or I forget them. Our league is set up in 2 divisions. So we have a first half and second half winner in each
Gotcha.
division. They play each other. Those 2 play in the championship series. So our last regular season game is July 30th. The last possible day we can play is August 7th.
Gotcha.
And then everybody, then by August 8th, everybody's gone.
Yeah,
All
pack
the
your
players
bags.
are
You got to
gone.
get
All
out.
the interns are gone. Everybody, it's like a ghost town around here. That's one of the really neat things is you're throwing together in the summertime, these summer leagues, 30 players, 3 coaches, 12 interns, all of your game day staff. You're throwing together 75 people. Just boom. And most of them don't know each other.
Yeah.
Some of these players know each other from social media, but they don't know each other. Our interns don't know each other. You have your meetings preseason, but they don't know each other. They haven't been in the same building, but you're throwing all these people together and it's a cliche, but you become a family for good and for bad. Not everybody loves each other. Not everybody wants to hang around with each other, but you become a family, and by the end of the summer, everybody's crying because they have to go home and we have, our host families that host our players, they have to let these guys go but you develop these relationships that last for years with most of these guys. Some of them come and go and they just go home and they get on with their lives, but we still hear from players that played for us 10 years ago in Oregon. So that's what, again, that goes back to the theory of the difference between working in the majors and working at this level, those relationships that you build. So you get all these people in and you're playing, 62 games in 74 days or whatever it is. And it's all day, every day for everybody for 10 weeks. And then it's over. But so there's a lot of management and puzzle pieces to be put together there. So it's just the season is great. And then you spend 9 months with no baseball games and a day like today when it's snowing outside and you're going, man, I wish we could play some ball today. But then I've got my list of things I have to do today to get ready to play ball in May.
Because you still got a list of things to do. You got to maintain the sponsorship.
Oh yeah. I've got like last night in North Platte, we got approved to do 6 fireworks shows. Well, now I have to go do the permit. Now I have to go do the permits for those. But that's the neat thing. There's always something to do. No day is ever the same. It's just not. It's not like sitting in a cubicle, not to put down accounts or anything, but it's doing spreadsheets in a cubicle. No day is ever the same for good or for bad. And that's what I love about it.
That's great. And you're right, because today you're handling, permits for North Platte for fireworks. Tomorrow you're dealing with something with the Pioneers.
Yeah. I got to hire some interns. I got to, whatever it is, there's always something to do. And it's just a blast.
Let me ask you, I want to give, the people that listen to the podcast a behind the scenes look. How do you handle, the recruiting and hiring of interns for your season? How does that work out?
We use a couple of websites. Basically, there's a website called Joint Handshake that a lot of colleges. There's over 400 colleges on it, and then there's another website called internships.com. So we put together our job descriptions. We put them out there, and just like any other job, people apply for it. You interview them, and if you like them, you bring them aboard and get them here for the summer and put them in. We have categories of positions: baseball operations, stadium operations, sales marketing, social media, live stream broadcast. So you talk to people that are interested in those fields. You bring them in, they do their summer internship, and then our job is to make sure that they're successful. I always get with the people that come with us, and okay, you're going to be here 10 weeks. By the end of the 10 weeks, what do you need to have on your resume to be successful, to make your summer worth it? And a sales marketing person, well, I want to get some sales on my resume. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Baseball operations. Well, I want to work. It's straight. All the baseball operations guys want to get into analytics. They think we're Billy Bean or something, and we're just not. but well, I want to do analyzing launch angles, and I was like, well, this isn't the place for you.
This is not going to be the place.
Yeah, somebody, a stadium operations intern. Most of these folks are interested in logistics and facilities. Well, okay, here's what you're going to do. We have a ballpark. We have a ballpark that needs to be kept up and operated every single day. So at the end of the summer, you're going to have that on your resume. I was part of the team that did this. So our interns come from all over the country, just like our players. We put them in host families. We work them pretty hard during the summer. We can't do this without the interns. The three of us that are here, it's too big of an operation in the summer for us to do that. So we try to get 10 to 12 interns in for the summer, and they have their duties to do, and then everybody helps each other, and we go.
That's great. I love that. I love that they're getting wealth of knowledge. It's like you're still in school pretty much, but you're working. Everything that you've learned, you're applying during that summer.
They've never seen the practical end of it. They've never seen that. You know what? I may have to empty trash cans today, or I may have to wash the uniforms today, or I may pull the tarp, or I might throw batting practice today. I might, whatever it is. They've never seen the practical end of it. Some of them do some stuff at their colleges, but most of these folks, yeah, you're right. It's all classroom work. This is where, and I tell all of them, I said, this is where you're going to find out if you want to really do this or not. Because you're going to do everything, and you might find something that you think you want to do this, but you really love doing this. When I first got into baseball back in 92 in Bellingham, I wanted to do play-by-play, but everybody does. That's the fun part, So I found that wasn't really an option, but I started doing, I got a lot dumped on me basically, because I took it on. It's like a lot of the operational stuff. The concessions and the ticketing and the merchandise and making sure the crew cleaned up the ballpark. But I found that I really loved that. It's like, oh, okay. And so I took that path as I kind of built through the minors and up to the majors. I was really known as a logistics operations guy. It's like, that's because I could put together this show and make it look seamless. What you want is when you open the gates for the fans, everything's just there. They have no idea what, that I'm back in October lining up who's going to do the hot dogs, whatever it is. They have no idea all that work. And I don't want them to know. I want them to come to the ballpark and everything is just there and ready to go. That's what I want. But that's where I get my satisfaction. And over the years, I did that. And I found that I really loved that. Where when I first wanted to do this, I was looking at one thing, I went another path. And so when I was younger, I wanted to do play-by-play. So now the joy of it is that I own the team. So anytime I want to, I can walk up and do play-by-play.
That's right. I
grab the headphones and I'll say, hey, Zach, sit aside for a minute, and I'm going to sit here and talk on the radio for 5 minutes. So, but with interns, when they come here for the summer, I emphasize to them, look around, see what we do. You're going to do everything. And this is where you're going to find out if this is the life for you or if it's not. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. And now you're, as an owner, right? Like you said, you get to do
anything I want.
Yeah, exactly. Like my dream was to become a radio person, and look at me now, exactly.
There you go. You're doing it. Yeah.
That's great. I love that.
I want to go up and shove the guy aside and play like I know what I'm doing on the radio. I can do that. And my wife will be the only one that can do anything about it. So
your wife is the one who's okay, it's time for you to go.
She'll say, nope, not so fast, young man. Yeah.
So me being a fan of minor league baseball and specifically hats and things like that. So let me ask you, because I'm looking at your website right now. I'm technically literally going on your websites, all three of them.
Okay.
But I want to know, are any of the teams ready to get some dad hats together, so that way I can definitely buy one from every team that you have?
Yes. And the only reason we're doing dad hats is you. So just so you know.
Yes.
No. Yeah. Well, the thing is, we started doing dad hats last year. No, in 2020 here in Nebraska, and couldn't keep them in stock. Just couldn't. And if you know anything about hats right now, for some reason, order time on hats is
Oh, it's
ridiculous.
ridiculous. Oh, it's totally backed up.
We had to order our player hats back in October to get them in April. We're talking like 6 months.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So right now, and we've got hats ordered. They won't be here till April. And people want them. People want not just the dad hats, but our hats, especially
Every single one. Yeah.
Yeah. But we aren't going to get them till then. We sell out of hats a lot. And so we have to kind of look at like are there any local vendors who maybe have some in stock in their warehouse, and they're not exactly the hat that we want, but it's better than no hat at all.
It's better than no merchandise. You're right.
Yeah. So like in North Platte, yesterday I was in North Platte and we were talking to our local supplier, and she's going to try and find what she has. Maybe we can get 18 of these, or, something like this where it's not the full load, but at least we're going to get something. But yeah, halftime ordering, it's just insane right now.
And it's not just you guys.
I can get sweatshirts and hoodies in 2 weeks and I'm fine, but hats are nuts. So you have to find somebody local that's actually got them in stock, and then do the best you can. It's not going to be, we're going to get the player hats that we're getting in North Platte. Since we got a late start, they're going to be pretty darn close to what they should be, but the actual player hats won't be here till mid-June. So what we're getting is something that looks just like it, but it's not the exact same hat. So the hat industry is just insane right now.
And the demand, and not just for someone like me, but the demand.
Well, look at your wall behind you. You don't even have half of your hats up there. Yeah.
No, I don't. Exactly. And it's insane how the demand for it's become its own niche, right? So many people want their hats for certain teams. And I think it's great because it gives, teams like, and I'll be honest, teams like the Western Nebraska Pioneers, which I didn't know much about a couple of years ago, but now that I've met you and I've seen you guys on social media and the activity that you guys have, then I want to buy a hat from you guys because I want to support the team. And I think that's there's so many other fans that can do the same thing.
Yeah, well, obviously, the more hats we sell, the happier I'm going to be. So
you got that right.
The happier my wife will be. She can go get some new shoes or something. But yeah, but you're right. I saw somebody. Oh my gosh, they had it was an affiliated minor league team, and they had 27 different hats. And we'll never do that.
Right.
But you do need to mix it up some. One thing in with the Pioneers, it's our 5th year. So we're doing a 5th year logo, 5th year hat. But you have to mix that up because people we've got people here that will buy every single hat that we have. We come out with
I know people that can do that.
Yeah. Make sure that you save me one of those hats. They collect them. Like you on your wall there, you collect them. So you're really right. It's really a niche industry where, we're never going to have 27 hats, but we'll have 8 different kinds of hats, especially this year with the 5th year, we have special hats, but you try to come up with designs that people like and you go with it and hopefully they do. And here it's been pretty successful. I think we have 3 actual hats in stock right now. 3 actual, not styles, 3 hats.
Wow. That's crazy.
3 actual hats. Yeah.
And I love
because they're on a boat from China somewhere. You're waiting to get embroidered.
And I love your jerseys that you have, like your different, theme jerseys. You got your ugly sweater, cancer awareness, Special Olympics. That's great stuff, and even, the Pioneers, the little
Pioneers. Yeah.
And
what we started doing with that, it was a way for us to help the community. We're a small minor league baseball team, and we don't always have the ability to just write checks to donate to people.
Right.
So we started doing these things. We're not the only ones doing this. There's people all over the country, but we found that, so we take these jerseys and the players wear them and we auction them off on Dash online and then at the ballpark after the games. And that money goes to that specific charity.
Love it.
So it's a way for us to facilitate raising money for charity through the sponsors that are on the jerseys, and then also with us helping that without we can raise more money by doing that than we ever could by writing them a $50 check.
Correct.
So,
And
so it's really,
that's great.
it all feeds into becoming a part of your community.
I
This
think
is a
that's
way
great.
that we can help the Humane Society, you know, in a way that everybody likes and has a good time with.
I think that's great. I love it. I love, and I'm looking at, you know, the Horseheads and, you know, website as well. I mean, the logo is great. I absolutely love it.
Thank you.
Let me ask you something about the Plainsman, because I love I think it's a very different logo than a lot of other teams have put out there. And it's, I think of it as very Tombstone logo.
It's exactly what it's supposed to be. Exactly what it's supposed to be. So thank you for that.
Okay, good. So I got it right, because
that's
like it's a different cowboy hat than you would normally see. Great.
Well, if you kind of go into the you know, every town's got something. You know, here in Gehring, it's the Oregon Trail. The old Oregon Trail runs a block from where we're sitting right now.
Right.
So their tourism industry, and Nebraska is very tourism oriented. You wouldn't think so, but they are. Here in this area, it's all built on the Oregon Trail running through here. And in North Platte, a lot of what they're built on is Buffalo Bill Cody.
Yep.
I guess he lived there at the end of his life. And actually, we were just over yesterday visiting the where they have the Nebraska Land Days Festival every year. And the last house he lived in is on that site, and it's a museum.
Nice.
So, and there was an old minor league team there in the 50s called the Plainsmen. So when we came up with this thing, you know, you look at, when you're trying to name a team, you look at, are you going to go with one of these stupid names that just is an attention getter that you're going to change in 3 years anyway? You know, the Flying Pit Monkeys or something, you know, well, that it's not that kind of a town. You know, it's a small town in the middle of Nebraska, and I would rather, you know, people will laugh at it for a minute, but after a while it's like, yeah, it's kind of dumb. So we kind of went back to the basics on that. So you're right. The theme is that it's kind of a cowboy town. It's a railroad town and a cowboy town, but the Buffalo Bill thing kind of kept coming back to us. And so when our logo designer kind of got that put on him, it's like, here's kind of what we want. So we came up with that logo. And then another part of it is the colors. We kind of wanted to stay away from, everybody's going to blue or red, white, and blue, or, you know, like a few years ago, everybody was doing teal, you know, and everybody's doing it. And so we kind of looked around, and where the colors came from was from our old team in Medford, the Medford Rogues, that Myra and my wife and I started from scratch, you know, a while back. And really those colors, we really liked them. So when we put the whole thing together, our logo designer came up with that, and everybody voted yes, and here we are.
I love it. You're right. And this is one of my gripes.
We got a lot of positive comments on it, so that's really good.
Oh yeah. One of my gripes that I have with a lot of teams is that, like you said, the red, white, and, you know, green, you know, and I'm sorry, red, blue, and white, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. If it fits your local identity, is perfect. But I think that in order, you know, for you guys to go in a totally different direction and going with those colors, I think it's great. I think it stands out even more because you're not, you know, blending in with the rest of the other teams.
Right. As I sit here in my red, white, and blue shirt from the Western Nebraska Pioneers.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But it makes sense though.
So I've got one that is, you know, and Casper is, it's all actually, and this is my fault. I did not even think about this when we went to Casper. It's basically the same colors as the Denver Broncos. Yeah. The mango and navy. And that's fine because this is Broncos territory, but we kind of want to. And then another thing you look at is what else is in town. What colors are the high schools or the college, or you want to stay away from that. So that's kind of where it all came from. But when we narrowed it down in North Platte, that's where we landed.
I love it. I think you guys, you know, from what I've seen and from what I've, you know, heard from other fans of, you know, when you guys we study the logos and all that, knocked it out of the park on that one. And,
Thank you.
You know,
our guy did a really good job.
intended.
Yep. Thank you.
Awesome. So before we go, again, I want to thank you for coming on and, really putting, highlight, your teams and the league. I think you guys are going to be doing an absolutely
Well, I could
wonderful
talk
job.
about this all day. Yeah. we love doing what we do. So on any chance we get to talk about it, it's really appreciated.
Perfect. If I ever, make it over there, I would definitely, will do so. Cause I think, collegiate woodbat league is one of my favorite, sports, when it comes to minor league baseball, collegiate woodbat, I think it's, and
It's
the
a
level of
blast.
competition is really, really good too,
Yeah, people are surprised by that. These are, for the most part, they're the best players on their college team, and they're looking to get better and get seen to get to the next level. That's their whole goal. Even if they're at a JUCO, they want to get seen by a D1 school or D2 school. They play hard, they play hurt. It's the grind for them. Again, it's not the 3-day-a-week college season. It's 6 days a week for 10 weeks.
Yep.
And so they don't come here to mess around. We always tell people, when you start a new team and you tell them you're going to bring 30 college kids to town for the summer, you kind of get the, oh my God, they're going to come and burn our town down and, ransack the place. And no. These guys are serious about what they do.
Yep.
And you will find that when they come to town, they're here to get better. If they want to mess around, they'll go home and mess around with their high school buddies.
Yep.
For the summer. And there is no tolerance from these guys. They mess up, they go home. Mm-hmm. But we've very rarely ever had to be in that situation. These guys are serious about making it to the next level, whatever that level may be. Whether it's going from JUCO to D1 or D1 to get seen by a scout, to move up 3 rounds in the draft, whatever it is, that's what they're here for.
I love it.
And that's really the cool part of it, because you get a great level of baseball at the collegiate woodbat level. So, I've had many people tell me you have a better level of play here than you do at the next level, the low A.
I agree.
Low A is basically 3 guys that are good, and they put a team around them so those 3 guys get better.
Mm-hmm.
I would stack up some of our Pioneer teams against any low A team anywhere.
I love it.
But it's the level of baseball. People are very surprised when they come and see it.
You're absolutely right. I think that the level of competition in those leagues are by far superior sometimes than the low A. And you're right. And you're absolutely right. Even the rookie ball, when the rookie ball was out, right?
Yeah.
That was some tough baseball to watch.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. And I worked in Bellingham, Washington was rookie ball. Mm-hmm. And we had 4 good players. But they put the team together so those 4 good players get better. Mm-hmm. And you nothing against the other guys, but the other guys aren't going anywhere, and they know it. It's a chance for them to play baseball for another year and make, a couple $100 a month. But here, probably half our team is going to go somewhere at the next level. So, yeah.
Awesome. All right. So before I go into my famous, not so famous questions, anything else that you guys have in the plans that you can say or do, now would be the time, my friend.
Well, I think, with the Independence League, we're off and running. We have our 9 teams in the one travel team. I think that, nothing's sure until it's sure, but I really think that this is going to be, over the next couple of years, one of the better leagues and better run leagues in the country. We talk to a lot of people in other leagues about how they do things and what's the right way to go. So we'll be adding more teams in 2023 and beyond. We've already got a few lined up that are just too late in the process to get going for this year. So you'll see after this season some more teams pop up in our footprint, and that's another thing that's very important, is kind of staying in our footprint. But this is it's really stressful, but it's an exciting time for us to get this thing going. And appreciate, on our end of things, anytime anybody is interested in talking to us about our league, it's flattering. So just being here really means a lot to us.
Awesome. I love to hear that. I'm probably going to end up reaching out to, if it's okay with you, right? Some of the players and coaches. So that way
Absolutely.
we get to see.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. So here we go. Are you ready?
Okay. The dumb question part of the program. I'm ready.
That's right. I love it. Exactly.
All right. Hopefully I don't perjure myself here.
The very first question I ask everybody, when you go to a ballpark, what is the very first thing that, food or drink that you have as a fan?
What kind of food do I get?
Yep. What do you get? Like anything local? Any beer? What is it that you? Get?
Haven't done this for so long. I stay away from hot dogs. So I look because I'm just like, my God, I can't look at another hot dog. I always, when I go to a ballpark, I always look for something different or something local.
Okay.
Depending on what they have. If they have like a Philly cheesesteak stand or something that's a local vendor, because we totally believe in local vendors. So as a business person, when I go to somebody else's ballpark, it's the first thing I look for. Mm-hmm. What are they doing? What are they doing that where it's a local person where I can go see what they do and maybe steal an idea? But instead of getting like a regular hot dog or popcorn or something like that, food and drink first thing out. Yep.
I think that's, for the most part, everybody agrees with you. Anything that is very hyper local, it's a good thing. Yeah. Okay. Cake or pie?
Pie.
Good man. It's a good
pie.
Answer.
With ice cream. Pie a la mode.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I qualify my pie choice. Pie a la mode. Yeah.
I like it. What was the last movie that you watched?
In person or on TV?
TV. Let's go with TV.
Oh gosh, what did I just watch? Don't Look Up.
Oh yeah,
Netflix movie about the asteroid. Yeah, I just watched that the other day
on Netflix. That's right.
Yep.
I gotta watch it. Me and the wife started it, and we have not finished it. With a 3-year-old, it's kind of hard to finish anything at this point in one sitting.
Yep. In person, we saw the 355 last week.
I've not watched it either.
Movie. It's not better than you would think. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll take it. I'm gonna have to add it to the list. Okay. Tacos or burritos?
Same thing. It's tacos and burritos. So my wife is from Mexico.
Nice.
And so, for me, I mean, if I had to pick one, it'd be a burrito. But I always tell her, she says, "Well, do you want a quesadilla or a taco?" It's the same thing. It's a tortilla and meat and lettuce and cheese, and you either wrap it up or you fold it up.
It is delicious. That's all that matters.
Thing. Taco Bell has 3 things on our menu, and it's all dressed up different. But if you're asking me which one I'm gonna eat, it's a burrito. Yeah.
You know what? I greatly appreciate that. I love it. Theme park or water park?
Theme park for sure. I'm way too old for a water park.
That's it. Yeah. You know what? You're right. Theme park is
my younger days. Water park, theme park. Yep.
Pepsi or Coke?
See, I have to be careful.
Moving on.
Who's going to see this amongst my corporate partners? Let's see.
How about we go with both?
Yeah, let's say both. Now I'm if I had to pick one, I'd go Pepsi, only because they have Diet Mountain Dew, and that's one of my vices.
One of your everybody has to have a vice, right?
Yep. In Gehring, Coke is our vendor. In Casper, Pepsi is our vendor. And in North Platte, we actually had a really good meeting with Pepsi yesterday, so that'll probably be it. So I have to, depending on who's going to see it. If you ask me what I'm going to drink, it's going to be Diet Mountain Dew, and there's no secret. Everybody knows that.
I love me some Mountain Dew, so that's a good
thing.
You go. Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
I say yay. I know it's not a popular view, but I say yay. Yes.
Believe it or not, on this podcast, everyone that have asked this, for the majority of the people have said yay on pineapple. So
okay,
you are not in the minority.
I don't see the harm. I don't see what the if people want to argue about something. It's a weird thing to pick.
You're right. I just think I find it fascinating. And now me personally will not order it, but I will not take it out of the pizza.
There you go.
So all righty. So the Winter Olympics are about to start here in February, right?
I think tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Tomorrow, yeah.
If you were to, pick a sport to participate in, what would the sport be?
If in my younger days, I would say ski jumping, because it just looks like a blast.
It does, doesn't it?
As long as you can land correctly, it looks like a blast. At this point in my life, being as old and beat up as I am, I probably would go with luge, because you basically just lay there and steer the thing.
Yeah, just like that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's you have to do something, but I wouldn't worry so much about the landing in a luge. Whereas if I was at my age doing a ski jump, that'd be a little more worrisome.
I like it. I think I like that answer. It's a good answer. I love it. Mountains or beach?
Beach for sure.
Oh yeah,
Mountains you have to go up, and I'm that's not me.
As someone from Puerto Rico, I miss the beach all day.
Yeah, yep.
I wish I was back there right now. Okay. Worst job that you've ever held?
Ever. Oh gosh. Let's see. I took a temp job one time. This is many, many years ago, just as a working in a factory, and they made the end product was like a rubber hose that connected into something.
Mhm.
And my job was to put my finger in with sandpaper and sand the end of it
Oh Lord.
to rough it up, just over and over. And
Oh.
I was like, what in the hell, And I was there for like a day and a half.
And you're like, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah. There's many worse jobs, but in my experience, yeah, that's probably the one where I was just going, what's going on here? Yeah.
You're right. That is pretty. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I was like, after half a day, I'm like, all right, I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, you do one, it's kind of cute. You do 750 in a day. It's like, oh my God.
Is this over?
Yeah.
You look up and it's only been 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so if your life had a mascot, what would that mascot be?
Clown. Absolute clown. Yeah. No, don't even have to think about that because just
it's a clown show, huh?
Just the things that we have been through just in the 30 years I've been in baseball, not even before that, just the things that we've seen and been through. It's like, oh my God, really? That happened and that happened? Yeah.
That happened. And
Yep.
Yes, it did happen.
Yes, it did. Yep.
All right. Well, one last one here, and then we'll let you go. If an animal could talk, which one do you think would be the rudest animal?
A cat.
Yeah.
Because a dog you can tell what they're thinking because they let it out. A cat just looks at you.
Right.
That cat's thinking something, and if it could talk, it would say it.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Cats will just there. You're right. You're absolutely right. Well, my friend, thank you so much for doing this. Where can people find your teams on social media?
It's pretty easy. The team websites are the team names. CasperHorseheads.com. I should say WNPioneers.com. So I didn't want to spell out the whole thing. And NorthPlattePlainsman.com.
Okay.
And they have all the social media connected to them. Our web provider has done a really good job of putting these things together for us. So you can get all the information you need there. And anybody that wants to get a hold of us and talk about what we do, obviously we can talk about it all day.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate the time, man. I really do. This is neat.
Yeah, and I really did truly have a wonderful time, and thank you for the the behind the scenes look of running a team that in the collegiate
people think you open up on May 24th and everybody just shows up, and no, this is a year round, all day, every day thing, and it's a great business to be in if you're built to do that. It's if this is what you love, this is a great opportunity to do that.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. And again, I'll put all this information on the show notes so that way everybody go ahead and make sure to support the team. So thank you so much.
Appreciate that. Thanks, Ed. I appreciate it.
Anytime. I hope you guys were able to get an idea of what it's like to work in minor league baseball, specifically collegiate wood bat teams. But make sure you guys are following them, okay? Not only the teams, but also the league, and see how this gets all put together in this 2022 year, okay? Before I go, guys, you guys already know. Make sure you guys are following the podcast. Give it 5 stars. 5 stars means I go up on the rankings. Go up on the rankings means more people listen to this episode as well as the podcast. All right. Until then, guys, keep on grinding, and please make sure to support the minor leagues. See ya.
This podcast is part of the Curved Brim Media Network. Here are some of the other members of Curved Brim Media:
Hi, this is Ed Rivera of the Dad Hat Chronicles. Join me as I interview people just like you and players, coaches, GMs on the path that led you to become a fan of the sport.
I'm Paul Caputo, and on the Baseball by Design podcast, I talk to minor league baseball teams, designers, and other super interesting people about what these minor league baseball logos mean, and I talk a little bit about ice cream helmets.
What's up, Bucketheads? I'm Anna DiTomaso, and each week on the Baseball Bucket List podcast, I speak with a different fan about their favorite baseball memories, what the game means to them, and what's left to check off on their baseball bucket list.
Hey guys, this is Patrick Larson from the Minor League Baseball Hat History Series, and in every episode I go through the history of minor league teams through my personal collection of hats. You can find me on Twitter at PatLarson1. I hope you guys enjoy.
This is Patrick
and Corey
of BaseballMapper.com, and we have made an interactive map to help highlight all baseball teams from the majors down to collegiate summer leagues.
We want to bring you closer to baseball. So get on the site and find a team near you today.
Learn more about Curve Brim Media at curvebremmedia.com.